Spider-Man, the 2002 movie game, is easily one of the best superhero games to come out on the PS2, and I know that may be a shock to a lot of people, but I truly do believe that sentiment. Mainly because, one, there wasn't too many superhero games that came out during the early to mid 2000s, so the ones that did, I think they weren't like the greatest things in the world, but they were still pretty fun to play. But what I do know is that, aside from Spider-Man 2, which I may cover in a future video, but the first ever Spider-Man video game for the PlayStation 2, to me, is easily one of the best superhero games for that console in general. And today, we're gonna cover the levels or missions or levels, however people want to word it. I'm just gonna personally say levels, and we're gonna rank the levels from worst to best. Hey everyone, it's your boy Sly Lancy, and today we're gonna be talking about the Spider-Man the movie game levels from worst to best. And now, when I say levels, I actually mean like the levels in the story, not like the training levels that they have on the side if you're new to the game and want to figure out how to play the game. I actually legitimately mean the story levels, so no training levels allowed, but I may do that for another day, so just be wary. Aside from that, that's my only rule for this list, and let's get to it. Number 22. Race Against Time. Easily, and I mean easily, the worst level in the entire game. Especially if you have this on the superhero level mode, like, it's almost virtually impossible to get through it. You have to get really, really lucky to get past this level on superhero. And it's just, I'm getting PTSD right now. The amount of times I died during this one level was so obnoxiously, it was so insane. Like, this is the type of level that will make you rage quit a game. And I remember, and it's funny because I remember seeing other footage of how the level was originally supposed to be, like, you know, if I find that footage, I'll put it in here to show you guys. But when the initial, like, beta version of this game, it was apparently a lot more difficult, and it had a different type of game over screen. But yeah. But that's as far as I can say about Race Against Time. This this level is just so brutal. It's just so brutal to deal with because, one, the timer goes very quickly. Two, you can't mess up. You have to like have a bang-on reaction to when the time is gonna start, and you cannot mess up when you're moving around with Spidey. Thirdly, the robots in this area will shoot you down and kill you completely if you are not, like, careful enough. And that's what I say, that playing this level on superhero mode is easily a nightmare fueled by the biggest demons there are. It's unbelievable, and I never forget the excitement and joy I had when I finally beat this level on freaking superhero. Number 21. Chemical Chaos. Oh my gosh, this level was about to get the worst spot, but Race Against Time was just so hard and difficult. This level right here is just so nerve-wracking. It's very, very nerve-wracking, and not even in a good kind of way. It's like nerve-wracking in, like, it will make you feel like an absolute failure, and that the city literally got destroyed all because you messed up. No one else but you messed up. If you mixed the wrong chemicals together, you destroyed the whole city, and you have no one to blame but yourself. And that game over screen with the civilians lost always gives me nightmares, guys. Like, it sends chills down my spine. Like, damn, I really did destroy the whole city. Like, it was such a creepy game over screen. And this is one thing that I'm shocked that nobody talks about with this game, is that the game over screens in here was some of the most, like, nightmare fuel game over screens ever. Like, it was so dramatic. They really made you feel like you huffed up. Sorry about the language, but yeah. But yeah, Chemical Chaos, it's nerve-wracking because, again, if you mix the wrong chemicals together, you basically destroy the whole city. And on top of that, you know, you have the super soldier robots. Oh my gosh, those like Green Goblin, Captain America mixed nightmares. And then you have the laser room. I don't even know why you need a room that freaking detailed with lasers. And just the fact that, you know, there aren't that many shadow spots to hide in. And if you get caught, it's almost like you're not gonna get away from these guys. It's very hard to find a shadow spot in this area unless you play this mission as many times. And I don't think I need to go any further, because I think everybody who's played this game knows exactly what I talk about when I talk about Chemical Chaos and this convoluted mission. I mean, you know, a level is very difficult when you finally beat it. It's not even like this sense of euphoria. It's just a sense of relief, like, finally, it got past. We finally got past it. Number 20. Vultures Lair. Okay, now, have there ever been a mission or level in a video game that you got stuck on for so freaking long that it literally took you years to finally beat and get past? Yep, that's this level right here. This level took me almost a decade to beat, and that's very sad that it took me almost... It's very sad that I got this game in like 2005, I think, and it took me until 2015 to finally get past this level. Like, do you know how disappointing that is to me, that I wasted all that time not being able to beat this one level? The reason for that is because when you get to a certain part of the tower as Spider-Man trying to get up to Vulture, there's this certain area in which it's like you get trapped. But then you realize you aren't trapped. You just have to look at your surroundings and see what holes to go through. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. But yeah, like let's just say what areas you have to go into to, you know, to progress upward, then go down and then back up again. It's like, it's just the whole maze thing in this level was just so unbearable. And this level took me 10 years to beat, and it was annoying as heck trying to get through Vulture's Lair for the longest time. And I was finally glad when I did get through it, because we could finally progress and I could finally actually beat this game back in 2015. But then there was the second part, where basically Vulture's gonna throw everything he has at you, the robotic spiders, the explosives, all that, so just be wary of that. Number 19. Chase through the sewers. This mission isn't really bad, it's just very long, and the worst part about this mission is that there are pretty much very little to no health packets. Like, there's only certain areas where there's health packets at, and you gotta use your health wisely, otherwise you're gonna die and restart from the very beginning. Like, the only place I know that there's a health packet or a web packet is the final section of the area of the game, where they throw a bunch of guards at you, and even then sometimes that isn't even enough to stop the guards and beat the area. So that's why I particularly don't care for chasing the sewer like that, but it's not the worst Spider-Man level, sorry. And also the secret area can be very, very confusing for those who don't play this game to death, so it definitely took me a few tries to figure out where the secret area was at in there. And then there's that guard with the sewer wheel that we had to get back from him. Oh my gosh, he was a huge pain in the neck. Number 18. Mary Jane kidnapped. This mission is very hard and relentless, and it's like another mission that I'm literally about to talk about in the next slot. But this mission is basically that, just much harder. Basically, goblins capture Mary Jane, and Spider-Man has to catch up to her quickly. And the Goblin's not gonna play around. He will actually attempt to leave you behind, because, again, you know, Goblin is literally Spider-Man's greatest arch enemy, aside from maybe Doc Ock and Venom, but to each their own. But yeah, like, Goblin will not play around. If you let him get away, he will get away. You know, so don't leave him. Don't let Goblin slide for a brief second, because again, this game over screen's not as like haunting as the other one, but still, Goblin Escaped is literally almost as haunting as Civilians Lost from Chemical Chaos. Only thing I can really say is just dodge the pumpkin bombs and anticipate where Goblin's gonna go next, instead of just trying to follow him constantly, because if you follow him in a straight line, you're gonna fail the mission. Number 17. Vulture Escapes. This is literally an easier version of Mary Jane Kidnapped, but, you know, again, don't screw around, because Vulture will attempt to, like, not attempt to get away from you, but he's gonna have a ton of things that he's gonna, like, distract you with. Like, he's gonna try and kill civilians everywhere, and, you know, it's just, you know, you have to be careful and be wary. Like, he'll try to drop, you know, like a water tower on the civilians, and then he'll try to drop a billboard on the civilians. So it's literally just a matter of just, you know, making sure that you get there quick enough and that you have enough webbing for those actions, because, you know, it will, you know, if you don't have enough, or if you're too late, yeah, you know, the building a water tower is going to drop on the civilians and you'll fail the mission. Still, not as haunting as the Chemical Chaos game over screen, but still. Number 16. Air Duel with Vulture. I actually like this boss fight with Vulture, where you literally fight him in the air. It's actually quite a bit of fun, actually. And it's definitely the best Vulture mission out of the 3 that we get with him, so just be wary of that. If there's one thing that I really don't particularly like about this particular level, is that there's a golden spider that you have to get, and there's 2 of them actually. There's one at the very, very top of the Empire State Building, and please be careful of the freaking lightning, because if you get struck by that lightning, it's an instant death. And then there's another gold spider that's literally at the bottom of the Empire State Building, like underneath one of the little eagle corners. So again, just be wary of that. But the gold spider where the lightning is at the top of the Empire State Building, you have to be careful with that one. Once you get that, you know, everything else should fall into place for you. You know, but again, Vulture will attempt to, like, hurt you and hit you while you're climbing up the building. So again, you just have to be very quickly. You just have to go. Like, you have to go. Because in all honesty, fighting Vulture in the air isn't too difficult. It's not too difficult. Number 15. Oscorp's Ultimate Weapon. Now, this level here, it can range. Like, if you're playing on, like, easy or normal, it's not that bad. But when you start to move up to, like, the hero or even superhero level, it can be very difficult, because in the load screen where they give you the hints on how to beat a level, it literally tells you don't stand too far away from this machine, because if you stand too far away, it'll fire its missile at you. And on hero and superhero, that missile is so deadly accurate, it's not even funny. Like, I've died so many times from that missile alone. It's not even the robots that protect the giant robot itself. It's literally just the fact that laser is so accurate on superhero. It's like they turned it up to 90%. So the one thing I can recommend is, like the load screen says, don't stay too far away from the robot. You know, stay close enough to where you can get the health packets that you need, but mainly because, like, there are literally areas where you have to destroy these, like, generators that's powering the robot, and yes, they are far away from the robot, but you can easily solve for that by standing away and just web balling it. So that's literally all I can say about that. And then afterwards, you'll just have to destroy the brain with, I guess, a couple of web domes will do the trick, or even have the robots, I think, destroy it too. But I'm not sure if that actually works itself. But that's as far as I know about that particular level. As far as I can say, it's a fun level. It's a fun level. Nothing too major about it that I would, you know, like, go off the walls about it. But it's a fun level still. Number 14. The Offer. I like the way this level / boss fight happens, actually. You start off with, like, the air duel with Goblin, and then when you get to, like, the ground, or, like, you know, an area where you're both on, like, plain flat surface, you just fight each other, and then, you know, you lather, rinse, and repeat for the second half, basically. So I do like that they mix it up in here, so that you're not just like stationary fighting. You're fighting in the air, then you're fighting on the ground, and then at one point generators getting mixed up and involved too. So yeah, it's basically everything you could hope for in a boss fight like this. If there's anything I will say about the offer, is that even though this is the second boss fight with the Green Goblin, to me it's the hardest one. Because Goblin is so relentless when he's literally the best fighter. He's literally the best hand-to-hand fighter in the entire game, in my opinion. Like, even though Scorpion can give you a bit of a good fight, it's really Green Goblin you have to watch out for. So, and especially in the offer, another mission I keep mixing up. Sorry guys. Another level that I could say has a much more difficult boss fight is the very last level, and I'll get to that in a little while. But as far as I can say, the offer, it's definitely a cool level and cool boss fight. Number 13, the Razor's Edge. This is our first proper introduction to the Razor Bats that Goblin uses in his fights against Spider-Man. They're basically these little like pumpkin bombs that transform themselves into like, mechanical bats that will attack you. So there's a bit, this one, I like this one a lot because like you can literally do a multitude of attacks on the Razor Bats. They're very easy to kill. But if you like stand around for too long, they will like hit you. They will like hit you like 50 straight in a row if you let them. So there is an easy way to go about fighting these things. Is that even though the load screen says to fight them on the rooftop is really hard to do, it's actually not that hard to do on a rooftop. See, there's a cheat that the developers didn't talk about, and that if you literally use your web dome while all in a building, it will destroy pretty much all the Razor Bats that's in that area. However, because Goblin has so many of these Razor Bats, trying to stay and fight every single one of them is literally like there's no point in doing it. You just have to like retreat to a construction site and hide there until Goblin finally relents and goes away afterwards. I also like this mission because it's the mission before we get to the two very brutal missions that we have to deal with, and the second brutal one I'll talk about later on this list, but yeah. Number 12. Scorpion's Rampage. Safe to say that Scorpion is a very, and I mean a very disturbed person at least in this video game series. I mean, in the comics and the shows, Scorpion is a deranged lunatic, but it's like it's amped up just a bit more in the video games for whatever reason, and I guess it's because of how bad the serum was that they gave him, or how bad the suit was. But it's just, as far as I can say, like, Scorpion, because of how bad his mental really got messed up during this game series, he literally is, like, paranoid about everything. So he will not hesitate to literally rip you limb from limb if he has to. So the one thing I recommend when trying to play against Scorpion is don't do hand-to-hand combat with him all the time. In fact, I would recommend using a lot of the dive moves, or like moves that will require you to jump from a distance, whether you web swing into him or like the knockout dive or the jump dive. Like any dive move that you can do is best for Scorpion, or even if you have to web ball him from a distance. I like this level a lot because it really forces you to learn how to use different moves and combos, because now you get into the territory where the villains or the enemies you have to face in this game are going to get much harder now. And another thing I like is that they literally bring it back to the subway station where we literally fought another villain that, again, I will talk about in a very brief second. Number 11. Crowd. Is it wrong that I like this level more than the Scorpion boss fight? If so, then I apologize, but I really do like Corralled a lot because we're literally trying to help out Scorpion before he actually turns on us. So, if there's one thing that drove me away from this mission for a while though, I'll give you about 5 seconds. For all my Sly Cooper fans who watch my videos, I'll give you about 5 seconds to figure out why I didn't like this mission initially. That's right. All the dang robotic spiders, which is very ironic because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, yet I don't like spiders. But aside from that little piece of irony, yeah, Corralled I definitely like a lot because, again, like, you're helping Scorpion escape these things, and it's a nice change of pace from the, the beat 'em up stuff we've been doing. Even though we do have, like, allies that we have in a mission earlier, it's literally not like this one in which the ally is literally just as strong as we are, but he's being chased down. Like, the story to me is just, like, okay, maybe the story's not a tad bit better than the other level, but I like it. I like this level a lot because it changed the pace just a bit. Not completely, but just a bit. And also, depending on what level of difficulty you have it on, if you do it, if you start on easy, it's 10 spiders, normal's 20, hero is 30, and then superhero is 40. So just be wary of that. Number 10. Escape from Oscorp. Hurry up! Mary Jane needs your help. That's exactly what the load screen will tell you, because one, now that we basically, stopped the chemicals from blowing up the city and destroyed the big monster robot that the Oscorp for some reason had ready on hand for whatever reason, now obviously the Oscorp security guards know that there's an intruder here, and they're sending all the super soldier robots to come kill us. The best part though is that the super soldier robots are much easier to kill this time. Like, you can actually mop the floor with these guys now, so it's much easier to deal with. The only thing you have to worry about is turning off the security and the gun turrets and getting through the laser wall. And once you do that, all you have to do is just make sure you grab any power-ups or pickups that you need, destroy all the robots that you can to get out of there quick enough, and just basically make your way back to the way you came through in the beginning of another level that, again, I'll talk about in a sec. So yeah, it's literally just the reverse definition of another level that I'll talk about in a quick second. But as far as I'm concerned, I like this level a lot because it's not as like, there's not that big of a fear factor or nervous tension that's going on in this level. It's literally just get out of there quick, just so you can get to MJ before Goblin does. Number 9. Oscorp's Gambit. So, in this level, we are introduced properly to Spider-Man's regular suit that we will be playing with throughout the entire game. And also after he gets the lesson from Uncle Ben about with great power comes great responsibility. So, this level, it's literally a relative, it's like how do I put it? It's basically like a whole new beginning level, like a beginning of a new era level, in which like you now have a new costume and you're gonna learn some new moves, like the lock on target, and then learning how to web swing better and all that stuff. It's literally just a level that's literally just made for fun, and also it adds a bit complexity to the story in which with Norman Osborn and his scientist buddy, they want to capture Spider-Man and use his blood to for like treatments and scientific inventions and stuff. So this is when we get introduced to the robots, these like Green Goblin like robots that come after Spider-Man and try to kill him. And depending on the difficulty, if it's easy or normal, you're gonna get the robots, but if it's on hero or superhero, you're gonna get the robotic spiders too. So just be wary of all that. So Oscorp's Gambit, it's a fun level. I like it a lot. It's fun. It's not overly difficult if you let it. And as far as I'm concerned, to me, it's like a classic Spider-Man level. Plus, it's the first reference in the game about Spider-Man working for the Daily Bugle, so that's another plus too. Number 8. Coup detat. This level is basically the scene where Spider-Man and Goblin properly meet in the movie, for anybody who's never watched the movie. But yeah, this is basically just a replica version of that scene. So, what we have Mary Jane and Harry Osborn and Peter all at a festival in, I would say, Times Square. And basically, what's going on is Goblin shows up and causes havoc, mainly because he's trying to get revenge on the people who kicked him out of the Board of Ed for the Oscorp. And so, and from that moment, you know, Peter has to, or in this case, Spider-Man has to save MJ before she falls off a balloon. You know, once she gets off, you know, she kisses Spider-Man, which one of Green Goblin's robot spiders manages to capture a picture of, which will come into play later in the story. And aside from that, you know, you just basically chase down Goblin and fight him, and make sure he doesn't destroy any property or kill any civilians. So, one thing I like about this level a lot is like they give you so much of a story in this one level alone. You can legitimately do so much in this particular level, between saving civilians, fighting Green Goblin while he's in the air, and on top of that, you know, there's also there's one golden spider that I'm aware of, and it's literally like right behind you. So, yeah. It's just, there's so much to do in this one level, and I love it so much, and it definitely left a mark for me when I first saw it and played it, actually. And I remember seeing this particular level in the trailers that they would have in, like, Disc 2 of the Spider-Man film back from 2002. Again, like, there's so much nostalgia for this particular level that I have, and seeing it for the very first time made me fall in love with this game even more than what I already did. Number 7. The subway station. I remember the first time I saw this level, guys. This was definitely a really fun level for me growing up. And the fact that Shocker, even though Shocker isn't really like considered a top tier Spider-Man villain, but to me he's definitely in the top 15 somewhere, for me at least. But yeah, Shocker to me had such a lasting impact for me after his appearance in this game. Like, he literally became one of my favorite villains for Spider-Man in general. So, but aside from that, yeah, this particular level, there's so much to do. Like, first off, you have to protect the security guards that are there trying to protect the station, you know, beat down the baddies. Make sure you protect the civilians and office workers that's working there as well, because apparently they can't defend themselves, you know. And then you have to defend another guard. You know, once you stop him, you go atop a building, you meet Shocker for the first time, and then he tries to blow you up, but then blows up the column, which apparently is going to fall on another civilian, and you have to get that civilian out the way because he's not paying attention because he's too busy on his phone. You know, it's funny that actually, you know, that guy pretty much predicted the future of today's culture right now. Okay, anyway, but yeah, after you save him, then you gotta deal with some more bad guys. And then the very last section, you have to help the guards out again in a different section of the station. And then once you do that, that's when Shocker basically gets pissed off with you and decides to go into the sewers and bring his bad guys with him. And that's how we go to the mission Chase Through the Sewers. Oh, man, my voice is dry after that. But yeah, again, there's so much to do in this particular level, and Shocker's appearance in this game really, like, it really had a lasting impression on me for the longest time. Like, anytime I see Shocker in media, I'm just instantly happy. Number 6. Birth of a Hero. The title's pretty explanatory itself. Basically, this is basically the birth of one of the greatest superheroes of all time. You know, even though in this particular moment he's still stuck in his revenge phase right now because he wants to track down his uncle's killer and basically either dole out the same revenge on him or just figure out who it was. So, in Birth of a Hero, we're basically in the deeper section of the warehouse, and we have to chase down Uncle Ben's killer. So we get into a section where we have to like sneak past a set of guards, which will increase your bonus points if you do it. And then once we get past them, we have to get through this misty area that the vents are like spraying out mist that is very harmful to you. So once you get through that, then you have to deal with another set of guards that are coming at you, that are basically trying to stop you from reaching Spike, or, you know, in this case, Uncle Ben's killer. So once you get past, you know, depending on the difficulty that you're on, you know, they could be very little guards or as many as like, you know, like 30 or 40 guards. So again, just have enough health and webbing, and there will be an abundance of it in the particular section that you're in. Not so much when you get up to the area where you have to go to fight Spike, but just be wary of that. So yeah, once you defeat all the guards, you know, a key is supposed to pop up at least right before the last of the guards come through. So get the key, get any webbing packets or health packets that you need, and then, you know, climb up top of the staircase, and then this is where you'll meet Uncle Ben's killer. Now, be very wary. This guy's shotgun is powerful, and he can legitimately kill you with 5 shots in the normal or hero difficulty, and even he could kill you in 3 shots in the freaking superhero difficulty. So again, just be wary. Dodge a shotgun. There's, you know, 2 or 3 health packet spiders nearby if you need it. Just use combos on him, dodge him when necessary, web up to the ceiling. There's no shame in trying to stay away from him. So that's all I can say about it. And once you beat him, that's when we get to the interesting part of the story, and we realize Peter could have stopped Spike Lee from killing his uncle. And thus, Spider-Man is born. Number 5. Warehouse Hunt. This is another fun level for me because we're literally in the section where we start to learn about the stealth aspect that the game will provide later on, but it's also the fact that we get to literally go inside and fight multiple bad guys, you know, find secret areas. We learn about secret areas in this particular level, and then not only that, but learn about how to crawl through the air ducts, you know, learn about different buttons and different sections that you could go to, you know, learn different combos. And on top of that, you know, we face some of the toughest thugs that we ever seen. And even though I haven't talked about this too much, but the dialogue in this particular level is so hysterically funny. It's like, oh my goodness, like, it's so funny. And then afterwards, you know, it's just like, you know, there's so much being thrown at you with this particular level, and it's like just take it all. You're just taking it all in, and just admiring the beauty and the charm that this game and a lot of games that the PlayStation 2 had. Even games, I'll just say games from the early and mid 2000s, the charm that they had was just spot on, and it makes me cry every time I just look at these games and play them. It's like the same for, you know, Spider-Man, Sly Cooper, you know, early Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just like, the stuff like this just makes me cry, because knowing that we may never get this type of charm in video games again. Very few have it. Very few games have charm like this nowadays, but you know, it's just back then, there's something about the old games that I just love about it. And I'm rambling on a bit, try not to ramble on too much, but yeah. And also the fact that this mission, along with Birth of a Hero, is in the Disc 2 of the Spider-Man 2002 movie. And it's literally like, like the structure manual. Like the section where a gamer is playing the game and he's trying to teach you how to play it. Like, yeah. That's another reason why I like this level a lot. Number 4. Showdown with Shocker. Come on, Shock. You know I can't let you run around down here without a chaperone. That was such a cringy line. Okay. That was easily one of the cringiest but yet most funniest lines that Tobey Maguire has ever delivered in any media that he's done. And this is one of the reasons why I love Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man, because he just captures that charm that Spider-Man has, where he could be, you know, like, where he could be like depressed about stuff but still have witty lines that will make you laugh. But yeah, so back on topic here. Showdown with Shocker. This is easily one of the best missions in the entire game. I keep saying missions, it's levels. Sorry guys, between playing Sly Cooper and this game a lot, you know, I mix up the terms a lot. But yeah, But yeah, this particular level is one of my favorites, and it's one of the best ones in the entire game, in my opinion. Because first off, this level teaches you how to use the web zip and how like you can use it to like go back and forth, and the first section's where you have to dodge Shocker's air blast, especially because we're in a section where trains are coming, where like the trains come through. And you just have to learn how to like dodge Shocker's air blasts and also again learning the web zip move, and just be careful because 3 blasts from Shocker and you're dead. So keep moving forward, and then when you get to the end, Shocker decides to be a little jackass and just block the entrance to you after you get towards him near the end of the area. And then you have to hit 2 train cards. In fact, you only have to choose 1 train card. Choose the one on the left. That's the one you have to use to get through. The second one really isn't important. It's just there just to be there. And then you'll see another sewer area, and you have to move quick because there's a golden spider. And if you're not quick enough, the gold spider will go through that area, and you'll have to restart the mission to get it again. So once you do that, then you'll move into the final section where we have to face Shocker. This boss fight is so much fun because 1, Shocker is actually pretty deadly with his attacks, and 2, the dialogue between Shocker and Peter in Spiderman in this particular level is so freaking funny and hysterical. And again, it's one of the reasons why I love Shocker so much, more than I probably should as a big Spider-Man fan. But again, this particular level makes me love Shocker even more, and it's easily one of the best levels in the entire game, just for the dialogue it has alone. In the chaperone line. Number 3. Breaking and entering. I initially had this level a lot lower on the list. I mean, like, it was literally one of my least favorite levels because of how difficult and tedious and nerve-wracking it is. But the reason why I shot it up to number 3 is for one particular reason. Because this level makes me feel like Sly Cooper. Like you have to sneak in and sneak around the area and collect, passcodes in order to get through the main door that you have to get through. It's so freaking incredible to me. Like this particular level, it took me years to actually like this level because I hated the absolute shit out of this level. But through playing this level over and over again and realizing like, man, like I really have to be like Sly Cooper in here. I have to sneak around, make sure that no one catches me, trying to steal passcodes and stuff. And if I do get caught, there's an abundance, and I mean a huge abundance of shadowy areas that you can hide in this area. Unlike Chemical Chaos, in which once you get caught, that's basically it. And breaking and entering, there's so many shadow areas that you can hide in that when you do get caught, hiding is not an issue. Just make sure that you look at Spider-Man's face and the entire face is black and blue. If it's red and blue, you're in sight, but if it's black and blue, then you're not seen by anyone. That's the important thing you have to remember. So, but yeah, breaking and entering, it gives me like a Sly Cooper feel every time I play it now, and I love it, and it really, really drives home the fact that Spider-Man can be just as stealthy as even someone like Batman, and Sly Cooper in a way. And to me, this level shows how versatile Spider-Man is as a superhero. Also, before I go, if there was anything that also docks this level a bit, getting caught by the super soldiers. And oh my gosh, the noise that happens when you get caught again, especially by the super soldiers, it is frightening. I mean, absolutely frightening. Number 2. Search for Justice. The very first level in this game, and oh man, is it nostalgia filled. Your Uncle Ben gets killed, and you have to go out and find your Uncle Ben's killer and get your revenge on him. It's like as cliche and corny as it sounds nowadays, back then it was literally a cool concept. And it's one of the coolest concepts ever that you could have for a superhero. But nowadays it's been overrun and overdone to death a lot. So it's like there's nothing special to it nowadays. But it's just the fact that the charm comes from it being because Spider-Man's been around since the 60s. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Jack Kirby. But yeah, it's just that fact that we have. It's just such a nostalgic feeling playing this level, and the fact that again it's in the tips and hints video section in the disc 2 of Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie. Sorry, but yeah, just like playing this level is so much fun. You have the skull gangs that you have to track down. You know, there's also little side quests you could do where you have to help a lady find her purse, and then, you know, again, golden spiders in the area, and then you come across this like pimp that you have to interrogate in order to figure out where your uncle's killer is. Also, there's a bunch of Easter eggs too. I haven't really talked about the Easter eggs that are in this game with like the Activision logo or the Treyarch logo. So yeah, all that jazz. So again, this level is very, very iconic for a lot of Spider-Man fans, especially the ones that love the video games and the comics and stuff. It's literally one of the most iconic pieces of Spider-Man media you'll ever have. But it's not my favorite level. It could have easily had number 1, but my favorite level is one that I think should not be a surprise to a lot of people. But we're going to talk about it in a sec. But before we do that, I'll show you guys the recap, and then I have 2 honorable mentions that I have to discuss. So, I'll see you guys in literally a few seconds. Hey guys, so before I get into the number 1 spot on this list, I have to throw in 2 honorable mentions. These 2 honorable mentions are basically the Kraven levels that happens in the GameCube version of the game. But the reason why I didn't include it in this list in particular is literally because I never played the GameCube version of the Spider-Man 2002 game. I only had the PlayStation 2 version, but I had to put the honorable mentions for the Kraven levels just to let people know that I do acknowledge these levels. Okay guys, we are down to the number 1 spot. Oh boy. So, Search for Justice was this close to getting number 1, but after really thinking it through, I just love this one just a tad bit more. Just because it's the ultimate triumph for me, especially after waiting pretty much 10 years to beat this game. But yeah, the number 1 best mission in the Spider-Man 2002 movie game is the face-off on the bridge. Oh man, I remember coming across this level and just almost having tears in my eyes after beating it. Especially with the load screen that comes on after you beat Goblin that says be sure to go to the secret store to see what you unlocked. Again, so much nostalgia, and I'm actually low-key crying right now. It's just I'm you know how like sometimes sometimes you wish you could play those games again for the first time. Again, it's just so much nostalgia. Oh man, my eyes. But yeah, so yeah, back to the mission, back to the level at hand. The final level. You know, obviously MJ got kidnapped. We catch up to Goblin after Mary Jane kidnapped level. Finally, we reach Goblin. He puts Mary Jane on top of a bridge and then sets the top of the bridge on fire. We have basically like little time to catch up to Mary Jane. So we have to rescue Mary Jane and then get her to a safe area, and then we can deal with Goblin for the final time. So you basically, for this particular level, you have to put everything that you've learned in the game and use it on Goblin right now. Because this is basically Goblin at his strongest, but you're basically at your strongest too. And it's just a matter of who wants it more. And it's obvious that, without a doubt, Spider-Man is much stronger than Goblin is when he's actually motivated and angry enough. After everything Goblin puts Peter through in this entire game, and even the film itself, Peter was ready to finally put Goblin to rest once and for all. He defeats Goblin, and despite trying to plead with Norman Osborn, the man who is Green Goblin, Norman is just too far gone, and he tries to kill Peter by using his glider to impale Peter from behind. But luckily, Peter's spider senses, Spider-Man's spider senses, allows him to understand that danger's ahead. He jumps out of the way, but unfortunately, poor Norman / Green Goblin got impaled. And his last words to Spider-Man was, "Tell Harry I'm sorry." And basically, I think the interpretation for that is, don't let Harry know about the Green Goblin serum. And then after that, Mary Jane walks up to Spider-Man, and as the classic superhero trope, the superhero gets to kiss the girl at the end. Why they're doing it over a dead body, don't ask me why. But yeah, and that's basically it. And we get this iconic line from Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's my life. Complicated. Looks like you're done now. Go outside and play.
And with that, we beat the Spider-Man 2002 movie game. And oh my gosh, was it so much fun to play. And aside from the secret store that they have a little song at the end that plays during the credits scene that I think is gonna be very, very, charming for a lot of Spider-Man fans out there who haven't played this game yet. Also, be sure to check out the secret store too that they have. There's a lot of stuff in the secret store. And with that, my friends, we are at the conclusion of this video. I had so much fun talking about these levels, guys. This video game is easily a top 5 video game for me personally. Again, Spider-Man, especially the 2002 movie, had such an impact on my life in terms of what I wanted to be growing up and what I'm still working towards, which is being a comic book artist. But again, that may expand out to, being a lot of other stuff that I want to do. You guys seen the comic dubs I'm doing right now, the other stuff I have planned. And again, just be wary. I got a lot of content coming. It isn't just Sly Cooper or Sonic. It's going to be a lot more stuff, guys. A lot more stuff. Fan stuff and my own personal stuff. I know I talked about my OC character, Divine Holmes, that I'll talk more about later in the future. But yeah. So just be wary of content, guys. It's coming. And my final conclusion is Spider-Man, the 2002 movie game, is an underrated PlayStation 2 classic that I think deserves more attention, recognition, and appreciation. And especially since it led to the next Spider-Man game. I don't know if I'll talk about that one in particular. But again, the Spider-Man 2 PS2 PlayStation game, which to a lot of people is easily one of, if not the best superhero video game out there. So yeah, I say that the first Spider-Man video game, a dedicated video game for the PlayStation 2, I think deserves a lot of recognition and credit for what it paved for superhero games coming afterwards. So yeah, that's my conclusion. As always, guys, it's your boy Sly Lancy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video that I do. So, peace out, and go outside and play.